We would like to welcome you to Audio Suplex Live Episode 2, brought to you by the Nerd Complex Podcast Network. Hey everybody, this is Heel Corey here, your host.
I don't think we knew who was gonna take the lead on that one.
I thought we were gonna do a hand signal.
Oh no, we're all over the place.
Okay,
already.
Yeah. So Heel Corey here, and as always, my co-host, Mr. Dr. T. Travis.
What's up, everybody?
And if you could introduce our guest this evening, or your friend of yours, I believe.
Yeah. So a close and personal friend of mine, a fellow wrestling fanatic, and all around good dude. We were talking earlier about what your kayfabe name would be, and we never really came up with one, so we're gonna do it on the spot.
I like what you came up with.
What did we end up?
Heartbreak.
Oh, the Heartbreak Kid, Mike Cox.
Yeah, Heartbreak Kid, Mike Cox.
Yeah, so not very original. Might get some heat for gimmick infringement, but whatever.
That's all right. We'll let it slide.
Appreciate that.
We'll send you any fines we get.
All right. So how are we doing this week, Corey?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Exciting week in wrestling.
Oh, absolutely.
As always.
Very exciting week. So. Real quick, a little anecdote. Myself and then a couple of close personal friends of ours actually went down to a wrestling show last Friday night over in Dayton, Ohio. Rockstar Pro, their 5-year anniversary show.
Ooh,
phenomenal time!
I saw some pictures.
Yeah,
exciting.
I got to see the infamous Joey Ryan Pornhub, or not Pornhub, but the YouPornplex live. Which, if you guys don't know what it is, go ahead and Google it. It's a sight to be seen. But yeah. Fantastic time. So
very exciting. I didn't do anything that exciting this week.
No,
I just watched wrestling for 5 days,
which is what we do.
Let's get the night started here. Let's move into our news segment. That's how we always start every episode. Let's see, news this week. Let's start with that new movie I heard about. What do you know about the movie, Travis?
Yeah, so it was announced recently that The Rock's $7 Productions in connection with WWE Films, Mr. Films, and Film 4 are going to be doing a feature film based on the life story of WWE superstar Paige. Kind of interesting. They've got some casting already done. Kind of a newcomer actress. Her name's Florence Pugh. She's from such things as Hush and The Commuter. She's going to be doing the titular role of Paige.
Yeah, I heard she won up-and-coming star or something at a film festival.
Yeah, so relatively unknown, but there are a couple of bigger names that are attached to the film as well, including Lena Headey of Game of Thrones and Dread fame. She's going to be playing Paige's mother, Julia. Jack Lowden from the film United Kingdom is going to be playing her brother, Zach. And then Nick Frost has been cast in the film as well. He's from...
I think he's playing Mick Foley.
You think?
I don't know.
He's from like such famous films as The World's End, Shaun of the Dead. Yeah. He's going to be cast now. They haven't formally announced what role he's going to be playing, but it is speculated that he's going to be playing the role of Paige's dad.
Oh, okay. I heard that The Rock wants to be in it as The Rock.
That wouldn't shock me.
He doesn't look anything like he did
back then
when this happened.
Right.
Super jack now.
Yeah. Maybe they could do him like they did on
give him a hairpiece
when he was on that 70s show.
Yeah,
just kind of having him out like as The Rock on that 70s show.
That would be perfect.
Also, the movie is going to be written and directed by Stephen Merchant, one of the creators of The Office.
Oh yes, I heard about that.
So
interesting choice. I thought.
Yeah, I think they're going to kind of go for that kind of dysfunctional family comedy. Surprisingly enough, but they were eight-time NWA World Tag Team Champions. AWA champions, like they've held, as WWE would like to tell you, titles all around the world,
of course.
But yeah, this kind of follows the formula that you see with the Hall of Fame, where you have a guy from like a more modern era, you have a tag team, you'll probably have a women's wrestler of some capacity,
right? If they can,
yeah. Usually you'll have like an old timer, somebody who maybe not connected to the WWE product, directly, like a Stan Hansen or something like that.
But they help shape the landscape of what became.
So
just cover the whole spread.
So I'm kind of interested to see like who else is going to be.
I think all the other ones are going to be kind of boring. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
There is a persistent rumor of Diamond Dallas Page going in this year.
That would be great.
He definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that they're going to have, but a lot of them are still wrestling, Like Kane and Jericho have been around for 20 years.
True.
they're gonna run out of guys until some of these guys start retiring.
Right. I mean, and you also do have. I mean, it is very close to his retirement, but Dan Bryan.
Yeah.
And then you also have Christian as another persistent rumor as well. So
Yeah, Edge is already in there.
So yeah.
Final bit.
Last little bit of news. So any wrestling fans that may have had your hopes up that, okay, so Kenny Omega didn't show up at the Royal Rumble,
he tried.
He trolled us on
there's
Twitter
still-
also.
There's still time. Kenny Omega
He
can
had
show
me.
up.
Yeah.
He's in Texas right now.
Right.
He's in Texas. What's he doing? What is he doing in Texas?
He killed me with the Royal Rumble arcade.
Yeah, exactly. Playing the pinball machine
Yes,
or
he
whatever.
killed me with
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Well, I hate to break it to you guys, but it has been formally announced by New Japan Pro Wrestling that one of their upcoming shows, co-branded shows with Ring of Honor, coming up at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, is going to have Kenny Omega on the
Honor
card.
Rising 2017.
So he will be there. It's a co-branded show between Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
Also on the card scheduled is going to be Adam Cole, Jay Lethal, the Briscoes, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, other members of
Bullet Club, yep.
including the Young Bucks and Guerrillas of Destiny. Juice Robinson, formerly CJ Parker from NXT. Will Ospreay will be there. So yeah, shaping up to be a pretty good show so far.
Pretty lit card.
If you're a fan of outside of WWE wrestling, you probably know who all those guys are.
If you have Twitter and you have any pulse of wrestling, you've probably heard of Kenny Omega at some point. Since
It's
If not,
it's
you
ringing
need
a
to
bell.
Do your research.
he
ringing
had
a bell.
He had something that happened on like January 4th or something like that this past year. I don't know. Some match against some guy. I don't know.
It was in Japan though. So
So it doesn't. It's not canon. Like. So yeah. So that's kind of like
some house show in Japan they had.
some bingo hall or
Yeah, I
whatever.
don't know.
Call it. Just kidding. Much respect. If you're one of 3 people at this point who haven't watched Okada Omega from
my
Wrestle
God, so
Kingdom,
good.
you need to go back and watch it. There's a reason it's the only 6-star match in
It's not the
Meltzer
only.
history.
It's not.
It's not the only 6-star?
He's given out one other, I believe.
Oh.
I wish I could confirm with actual facts,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure I heard an interview with him and he said
You sound like some alternate facts to me.
that he has
Alternative facts.
You
that
sound like
he's
some
given
alternative
out
facts to me.
he's given out the 6-star at least 1 or 2 other times in addition to that particular match. You can quote me on it because I know I heard it, but I don't know. I don't know what matches they were, unfortunately.
But either way, so pretty light weekend news, but some pretty
Nothing
interesting little
crazy. I
tidbits
mean, we had quite a few of not very eventful news to report.
right.
Let's do the next portion. This is where we do our review. This is going to be the bulk of the show. We're going to dissect Raw, SmackDown, 205 Live, and NXT. And let's just get right into Monday Night Raw. It's the first wrestling event of the week.
Let's dive right in.
Let's dive in. I'm assuming both of you gentlemen had a chance to watch Monday Night Raw.
You know it.
I concur.
Yes. All right. So then you remember the opening scene with Mick and Stephanie announcing the newest, hottest free agent in wrestling. They signed Samoa Joe. They have his contract, and they invite him out to sign his Raw contract. They refer to him as Samoa Joe, the Destroyer. He comes out and cuts a short promo, signs his contract, and Roman Reigns comes out to interrupt.
So you have a Samoan named Joe,
And then another,
another
so-called
Samoan
Samoan.
named Joe.
His real name's not Joe, but that's what they call him. Doesn't he have like a weird?
Yeah,
crazy
his like middle name is Joe.
Some sort of Samoan name. I don't know. So Samoa Joe's name is really. I looked up Samoa Joe's real name, and I can't even figure out how to pronounce it at all. So, either way, Roman Reigns comes out. He says he's the baddest man, and that Joe is in his yard, which I thought was an interesting choice of words to use.
I did too,
They
also.
are hyping up this
For a
Roman
man.
Reigns Undertaker match.
Oh,
to
man.
no end.
If only Taker's music could have hit right.
I
after he
wanted
said
Stone
that.
Cold's music.
Oh, that would be good.
Like, are you
Biker Taker comes out because he was the one that referred to the ring as his yard. My yard. I don't know. Well, he doesn't want to walk all the way down the ramp, so he's getting the motorcycle back. Right. We're going to do the motorcycle thing again. So I don't have to walk.
no! If it means I get to hear Limp Bizkit every Tuesday night from now on,
You know what? I'm down.
I'm okay with it.
all right
I'll
with
take
that.
it.
So either way, Mick decides to make the match Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe in the main event, which should be a pretty good match, I would assume. I mean,
And an actual proper main event this week because it was at the end
right
of the show.
the last match of the night. Exciting.
Amazing.
So that was the first segment. Overall, I think they did pretty well. I mean, I was excited for the match. It's unfortunate that Samoa Joe is officially on Raw and not
He's-
SmackDown, but
Right.
He's tailor built for the main roster, though.
Absolutely. He's going to be in the main event no matter what. So
Yeah, hands down.
This just would have been nice on SmackDown.
So it's not like they need it though. Like,
I mean,
And we'll get a little bit more into that when I give my SmackDown
it'll be
recap.
interesting.
But
I mean, if you look, yeah, we'll talk about it. I don't want let's not get too far away from the subject matter, which is Monday Night Raw. All right, second segment is going to be Bayley versus Nia Jax. That's our second match. Bayley comes out. They're doing pretty well. She ends up almost winning by count out at one point, which was interesting. She had Nia Jax knocked outside. Charlotte comes up and distracts Bayley, and unfortunately she falls to the Samoan drop. And, of course, Nia Jax pins Bayley. Very realistic. Next week they announced that Bayley is getting her rematch, or getting a rematch, I should say, for the Women's Championship against Charlotte. So that should be pretty good for next week. Obviously, Bayley's not going to win this one, right? Next week, you don't think?
you know, it wouldn't shock me though, just so they can continue this narrative of Charlotte loses the title on Raw and then gains it back at the pay-per-view, so that the streak can. And so am I.
How can you prove that you're the top main person? You're losing on TV.
And that's the thing. Like, they talk about this pay-per-view streak like it's some like amazing
They
thing.
keep building it up. They mentioned it this week.
But more people are probably seeing her lose the belt on Raw, because I think more people tune into Raw. And I could be wrong. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
I
but,
would assume, probably.
Yeah, I mean, but I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility. But you're probably right. She's probably not dropping.
It could be there. I've heard rumors. I know you've heard them of the four-way match for WrestleMania. So you got Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Bayley all. So maybe the match next week, there's some interference from Nia Jax or something. You know, she thinks she's
kind of gets ready
deserving.
for WrestleMania.
You know, anything. So who knows how that's going to go.
Yeah.
But next week we got Bayley versus Charlotte. We'll move on to the next segment, which of course is Braun Strowman against four jobbers. The most I think he's ever wrestled at once, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he had the
before.
three before with the infamous, perhaps not Jorge.
Yeah.
One of my favorite calls. Did you ever hear that one, Mike?
yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
So four jobbers. He's beating them up. One of the guys runs away, which is nice. He's smart enough to get out of the ring, but he slams the other three guys down, piles them up, and ends up pinning them. Gets on the mic and tells Mick, hey, you call this competition. We've heard this all before. Same speech. I honestly think they just didn't have anything for Braun to do this week, so they're like, oh, we'll do some more jobber matches. That seemed to work out well for us before. Either way, he goes to the back to find Mick. Mick makes the match official for Fastlane. Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. Hopefully that'll be some real competition for him. We'll see where that goes at Fastlane, which we got a whole nother month.
Yeah, so we
Till
got
that
a lot
happens.
of time to build up.
Like they're already announcing all these matches, and it's like you still got a month to build. I don't know. Either way, we'll move on to the next portion here. They show a video package for Akira Tozawa making his Raw debut. I thought it was really strange. Cesaro was doing the voiceover, and he was the one talking about Akira Tozawa, which I thought was strange because he's not really in the cruiserweight division. But either way, he comes out for his match against Drew Gulak, which he's pretty much the jobber for the cruiserweights at this point, I think.
Yeah, he's definitely taken like a slide down the card. He kind of occupies
He's
that same
he's
space.
the loser, you know?
Yeah, you have guys like Lince Dorado who kind of occupy that space, and
It's unfortunate because I like Drew Gulak because he teams up with Tony Nese, and I love Tony Nese.
Tony Nese, he's the premier athlete.
Oh my God, Tony Nese. Yeah, he's great.
And his abs.
Tony Nese's abs, right. And he's injured. Tony Nese gets injured.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but we'll get to that. Although I don't think you really see it happen on TV. They just
No.
talked about it on 205 Live. Either way, at the end of the match, Brian Kendrick comes out and tries to shake Akira Tozawa's hand. Again, we'll get more into that in 205 Live, but it looks like Brian Kendrick's trying to make a partnership of some sort. He wants to make Akira Tozawa his apprentice. After that, we have Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho coming out for a promo. Notable things: Chris Jericho puts Tom Brady on the list for calling himself the GOAT,
Topical.
greatest of all time. Thought that was pretty funny. Goldberg comes out and interrupts their little promo sesh where they were talking about Kevin Owens and Jericho being the biggest WrestleMania match they could have. Goldberg comes out and, of course, challenges both of them to fight Goldberg. Goldberg challenges Kevin Owens for a match at Fastlane for the Universal title. And Jericho accepts the match on behalf of Kevin Owens, which Kevin Owens was not a big fan of.
Rightfully so.
So it wasn't made official at that very moment, but shortly thereafter, Mick Foley made the match official. Kevin Owens versus Goldberg at Fastlane. Again, we're getting a lot of these matches made well in advance of the pay-per-view.
Let me stop you right there real quick.
Please do.
It's been a long, persistent rumor that they're trying to get the belt on either Goldberg or Lesnar going into their
It
inevitable
only makes
WrestleMania
sense
match.
at this point.
Indeed.
Which I think I've kind of come around to, actually, because I think having somebody of the caliber of not to take away from Kevin Owens, but having somebody of the caliber of a Goldberg or
realistic
Lesnar
winner.
can heighten the belt. They can heighten
Like some heat.
the prestige of the belt. And we were talking about this briefly earlier about how the Universal title is definitely, I wouldn't even say it's like the fifth most prestigious belt in the
Not
company.
very high.
Does this feel forced to anybody but me? Like, I feel like they really kind of threw this together to say, okay, we need some excuse to get Goldberg to fight Owens at
I think
Fastlane.
what'll happen is, not to jump ahead of what I think is going to happen, but
Right.
Jericho maybe cost Owens inadvertently the match. There's your WrestleMania match between Jericho and Owens. You got a reason. Hey, you cost me the belt.
Right.
I like that.
Goldberg moves on to Lesnar. You know, Lesnar can take the belt off of Goldberg at WrestleMania. Goldberg's gone. You got this mega monster who beat Goldberg as your champion on Raw, and then you have your guys. Samoa Joe maybe could take the belt off of Lesnar. That's a realistic option that they have after WrestleMania.
Right. Right.
So there's a lot of options. I think what a lot of people are thinking as well is that Goldberg's probably going to win the match and take the belt to WrestleMania.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised if it didn't happen.
If it didn't happen, I think the match will still be good. Goldberg and Lesnar doesn't need the title, but it doesn't hurt. I mean, Jericho's not doing very good to the Universal title because he's cheating to win. He's not a legitimate fighter. He doesn't seem like he can beat anybody. So,
Right. Right.
I don't know. All right, let's move on to our fourth match of the night, which is a tag team championship match. We have the Club taking on Cesaro and Sheamus. And for some reason, Enzo and Cass are at ringside to not to commentate, but to sit. They just decided to sit there.
Mike and I were talking earlier about
Yeah,
this segment and how I just thought it was funny that, like, what do you do? Do you want to go sit by the ring real quick
Let's
and
just
like,
chill until we get
just hang
kicked in
out?
the face.
See, I forgot that Raw has their announce tables up by the stage. So as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, okay, Enzo and Cass are there. I'm like, wait a minute. There's
That's
no
not the
there's no
commentary
announce
table.
table there.
Yeah.
Why are they even here? Like, but they were there for the finish of the match is why they were there. They needed Gallows attacked Enzo as he sat at ringside. Big Cass, big booted Gallows in the face, got the DQ, and the Club are victorious. The storyline here is that Enzo and Cass said that they wanted to challenge whoever won the match to the tag team titles. I'm assuming that'll be at Fastlane because why wouldn't it be? So we're getting a lot of matches, like I said, made for this card that is a month out. So hopefully they do a good job building all these matches in that time.
Right.
We shall see. After that, they show a small video package of what happened last week with Triple H, Roman Reigns, and Samoa Joe. And that is when Seth Rollins confirms his injury via Twitter, and they show it on the big Titantron with a picture of his knee. But yeah, so he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. The next match, match number 5, I thought was kind of strange as well. We have the longest reigning tag champions of all time, the New Day, taking on the Shining Stars. Good reason to a feud with the Shining Stars now. You have probably one of the highest ranking tag teams on your show, and they're getting in these feuds with these people that don't really matter. Which I mean,
it gives them something. It gives them something to do, and it gives them, WWE an excuse to put New Day on TV without having the belts on them.
Yeah,
And we possibly get ice cream back.
Oh,
yeah, and they are trying to get that is in my notes. They're trying to get ice cream over. They got unicorns over. They got bootios and all that. They're ice cream.
They might only be second to Chris Jericho in their ability to get like
anything.
anything
over.
over.
I agree. I totally
Although
agree.
I think they're getting kind of cocky now. Because they even the promo, they're like, we got you wanted this, so we did this, and we added the trumpet, and we did.
Bless them though, man. Because listen, when they first started, and it's been said 1,000 times, but
I didn't think they were going anywhere.
WWE gave them absolute turd sandwiches to work with, and they made gold out of it.
Yeah, they figured it out.
They figured it out, made gold, and that is what gets you over in WWE. They can give you the worst gimmick in history, The Undertaker.
Yeah,
and you make it work, and you make it work for you, and you're made.
Yeah, it was not bad.
Made it shine like a slammy.
And they shine like a slammy.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on. Xavier and Big E were the two competitors for New Day. They obviously won. Yeah, we'll move on to the next portion, which of course is our United States Championship match: Chris Jericho versus Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens at ringside. Nothing crazy here happened. Kevin Owens interfered and super kicked Sami Zayn in the face. Jericho gets the code breaker, and that is the end of that match. I think Zayn should probably maybe get another shot at the belt since he was cheated here, but
which I think is what this is going to end up leading to. I think
we'll see.
You could see a potential Fastlane match put together between Zayn
because of the shadiness.
Yeah.
So we shall see there. Let's see here. We're going to go ahead and move on to some cruiserweight action here. We had Austin Aries come out and interview our champion Neville, at which point TJ Perkins, Tony Nese, Cedric Alexander, Noam Dar, and Jack Aller come out to the ring to cut a promo, and they decide to make a match for the number one contendership. That match is going to be on 205 Live.
Yep.
Which we'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, so a fatal five-way is what they booked it. I don't know if they know what a fatal five-way is, but that is not. All those cruiserweights are in the ring. They decided to do a six-man tag, heels versus faces. You got Neville, Nese, and Noam Dar against Cedric Alexander, TJ Perkins, and Jack Gallagher. So those are your people. Neville leaves mid-match, abandons his team.
Kind of harkening back to what he did on last week's 205 Live in the tag match with Dar.
Yep, screw you guys. So he leaves. And
right,
Cedric Alexander pins Noam Dar and gets the win. So the good guys won.
Which is kind of interesting, and we'll get to a little bit with 205 Live, but you would think that they would take that pinfall of Cedric Alexander going over in the match and use that momentum going into, because I thought he was a shoe-in to win the quote-unquote fatal five-way.
Yeah, I was leaning that way.
Yeah.
Him or Jack, and we'll talk about how that panned out.
But yeah, and interesting, so...
So that was the end of that. Our last match of the night, as we advertised earlier, Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. Joe interrupts Roman Reigns' entrance. He attacks him for a while outside the ring. They cut to commercial. The match starts. Both of them look really good. Both are selling each other's moves very well. Strowman comes out and, to preface that, Superman punch.
Yep.
Knocks Joe out. You think, oh my God, Roman Reigns is going to win him or beat him. Strowman comes out, distracts, interferes a little bit, and then Samoa Joe gets the win on Roman Reigns.
What do you think?
Strowman's still interfering in these matches, so I mean, they have that feud, Roman Reigns.
And that is a match that's signed for Fastlane already.
It is official.
Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. So.
It makes sense. I would hate for Samoa Joe to have lost his first match.
Yeah, I think they kind of could have dealt with. I get why they inserted Strowman into the finish of the match, just to kind of create that narrative between Reigns and Strowman further. But I would have really liked, if you're going to book Samoa Joe to be this destroyer, the inevitable Samoa Joe, book him to go clean over Roman.
Yeah.
You know, like Roman's not going to get hurt by taking a loss to this. You know, you can push Roman right back up the card. Trust me, you're going to.
Right.
You know, let him go clean over him. You can continue this. You have 4 weeks till Fastlane. Like, you have time to flesh out this Roman Reigns.
Right.
You know, Braun Strowman comes out next week. You couldn't even beat Samoa Joe. Blah, you know,
right,
boom.
Good. I even like the attack.
Yeah.
He didn't even let him get to the ring.
So for our listeners, that is hashtag Travis4Creative. You guys can go ahead and get that trending worldwide on Twitter.
Like, that made him look strong, like attacking him before he even got to the ring. Like, I thought that was
awesome. And the only thing that why would it change? Have Samoa Joe go over clean.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, cool. So we're going to switch over to SmackDown Live. Unless did you have any other notes for Raw Court? I'm sorry.
No. Overall, Raw was all right. You know, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it was as strong as last week's show, but I mean, granted, last week you had a debuting superstar from the NXT roster. You had the Triple H promos. You had really good promos.
Well, definitely gave us a reason to tune in
next week. They definitely set up a ton of matches, and the ones that they didn't officially announce, you kind of know which way they're going. So you got our Fastlane card already
kind of
set up.
Yeah. So fast forward to SmackDown Live, Seattle, Washington. It's the Elimination Chamber Go Home show. Show opens up with a hype package for Orton Cena. Really it's kind of interesting because they really pushed forward this whole narrative of like, this is their first time ever on ... SmackDown Live.
Yeah.
But they're also pushing on this narrative of like, Orton Cena, like the rivalry, like we're gonna renew it again here on SmackDown Live tonight. Mike's gonna let you guys know that he is the Intercontinental Champion.
Well, now that we're on the show,
now that we're live,
the champ is here.
Had to.
So yeah, so kind of interesting that they pushed it as the first time on SmackDown Live, but they also pushed it as the renewal of the rivalry. But anyway, show opens up with the package hyping up the main event for the evening. Dan Bryan comes out to a huge hometown pop.
Absolutely.
Kind of starts cutting a little promo, and then, as always, as if on cue, is interrupted by The Miz.
Of course.
Miz comes out, does his typical Miz shtick when it comes to Daniel Bryan, talking about him not being able to wrestle anymore, going back and forth about their Daniel Bryan and Miz's wrestling ability. A couple little barbs there back and forth. I like the Dan Bryan barb of what did he say? Something to the effect of, like, at least when I was in here, I could wrestle, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or something to that effect.
Yeah, it never stopped you.
So little, yeah,
Exactly, because he can't wrestle. Right?
Oh, God, if they ever do lock up,
I'm wondering what they're doing. What are they doing with this?
If
they're just teasing us forever.
Right. Side note,
I hope not.
if this Dan Bryan injury and retirement has been a work the entire time,
Oh my
this
gosh.
might go down as the
That
longest.
long of a work?
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be insane.
Why would he need to leave?
Because the payoff would be insane. Could you imagine that
It would.
WrestleMania match?
And they
between
picked
those
the
two?
Miz. That's who they took their biggest
They
guy,
planted the
Dan
seeds
Bryan,
of- they
off
planted
TV
the
for
seeds.
over a year.
They planted the seeds of that in NXT when the Miz was Dan Bryan's
his
superstar
man.
that he was assigned with. So, but anyway,
Biggest work of all time.
oh my
Man,
goodness.
man.
In which case, I take back everything I've ever said about creative.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you guys win.
So the segment continues, a little bit of back and forth between Dan Bryan and The Miz, and then suddenly Baron Corbin interrupts and starts cutting a promo about his insertion into the Elimination Chamber, sounding a lot better this week than he did the previous week when he was on commentary, being vastly overshadowed by The Miz and everybody else on the commentary desk, all 8 of them. Little side note, did anybody else catch Baron Corbin's new facial hair that he's been cultivating?
What does it look like?
I
don't know if I got a good
I'm looking
look.
at my notes right here, and I literally looks like a 13-year-old growing his first mustache. And we were talking.
Does he not normally have a mustache? And
No,
he's trying the
he's
mustache
got
now?
kind of like the side
And he's got the
sideburns
chin
thing.
strap
Yeah,
thing.
that kind of going on. But now he's got like this little like pencil thin mustache kind of going
I don't
on.
think
I'll show it to
caught
you after
that.
the show.
Holy cow.
Corbin comes out, inserts himself into the promo, only to be interrupted by Dean Ambrose.
I feel like they're going somewhere with this.
Also coming out with thicker than normal facial hair. I'm starting to think that Dan Bryan is mandating that all the male superstars have to have.
How big can he get it?
Yeah, I mean, you got the Wyatts on there. You got Randy Orton, got a little bit of stubble going on now. Luke Harper. It's
I like
it's a hairy show.
Yeah, Eric Rowan is on there too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's on SmackDown.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, either way, Ambrose comes out once again, inserts himself into the argument at hand. AJ Styles comes out, enters himself into this, and it's basically all about Elimination Chamber hype. Interestingly enough, though, not joining the competitors in the ring, the other competitor for the match, Mr. Bray Wyatt, or the WWE champion himself, John Cena.
Well, we already know who's going to win that match and who's going to lose that match.
So after a little bit of back and forth, Daniel Bryan basically says, "Okay, we're going to start off this week's show since you guys are all out here and want to fight with a fatal 4-way." Kind of start to show off for SmackDown.
Now, did they do the fatal 4-way the right way?
It was a proper fatal 4-way. It was a first
one pinfall or submission and it was over.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Couple little cool spots from the fatal 4-way. Miz trying to start off a little bit of alliance with
Mr. Baron
Corbin, kind of aligning himself with the biggest guy in the ring. Very smart, plays in the Miz,
smart, very typical of the Miz.
Plays in the Miz's character very well. Surprisingly enough, match ends with Baron Corbin getting the pinfall over AJ Styles clean.
Couldn't believe it.
Insane.
When I saw this match being made, I'm like, okay, so who eats the pin here? Miz, maybe?
No.
Would never guessed AJ Styles, and definitely would never guessed that Baron Corbin was the one pinning AJ Styles.
There's going to be big things with Baron Corbin coming up. He's going to be, the push you're going to see him get this year is going to be astronomical. So
Well, hopefully he fulfills our needs, if you know what I mean.
yeah. So moving on to the next segment of the night, Luke Harper vignette, backstage segment where very reminiscent of the Wyatt promos with the floating light bulb and all the spooky du jour that you would expect from a Wyatt promo. Basically getting some more hype going into the Orton Harper match that's been signed up for Elimination Chamber. Really cool line about him not wanting to just cut the head off the Viper and wanting to inflict pain on him. Really kind of getting deep into the psychology of this feud between the two of them.
I think it's the most I've seen him talk ever.
He's a fantastic talker
Yeah,
too.
he's not bad.
No.
He doesn't normally talk. So
I could see, if they continue with this whole breaking up the Wyatts and getting Luke Harper out of the family, he could be a legitimately good mid-card, upper mid-card, even like I would say IC title, which I think he's held before, hasn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
He's the only.
Short.
Very short. Yeah, but I mean, I could see him definitely inserted into that Intercontinental Championship picture.
I mean, they put him in that match with John Cena and Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt last week.
Yeah.
I mean, he's up there with those guys.
Yeah, he's in the mix.
Interesting.
Next segment, we have a interview via satellite, very awkward looking interview with Tom Phillips still sitting at the desk, interviewing Nikki Bella when Natalya implied that John Cena's never going to marry you and this, that, and the other thing. And even going as far as in this last segment to imply that if Nikki wasn't in the picture that Natalya would be with John Cena, which was weird. Did anybody cringe at that?
Yeah, she's like, if I wasn't married to Tyson Kidd.
Right. How do you feel like Tyson Kidd's feeling at home?
John Cena
like,
would be mine.
While doing the dishes.
Yeah, Tyson Kidd's just sitting there like, oh, I wonder what Natty's up to tonight.
Right.
Jesus.
Probably wishes he didn't check in that night. So yeah, definitely really uncomfortable. I do feel like there might be a payoff in this, especially when we were talking about some of the possible implications for what Nikki might be doing at WrestleMania. But, once again, we'll kind of see where this goes.
It might be interesting. So hopefully this is the end of the feud here this Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I'm done.
Speaking of things that I wish would end, next segment, we have a match between Apollo Crews and Dolph Ziggler.
No.
I'm assuming that they've just sent Dolph Ziggler down the card to be the reckoning of the lower card, which is literally represented by two people. Right. And that shows
you with chairs until you understand.
Exactly.
I am the king of the mid card.
That shows you the difference between the upper to main event picture on SmackDown to the lower card. Like, it's really a drop because you have look at the Fatal 4-Way. All those guys could be to the world title and or the IC belt.
Given the options available.
Apollo, Smiling Cruz.
I can't stop.
Mr. Lucha Thing himself. Comfortable. The match ends exactly the way you think it is. Ziggler picks up the win. Goes full Elimination Chamber pre-show if the gods have anything to do with it.
Yeah, probably that. And I don't know. That as the heel, he would use a weapon to be an equalizer.
Trav knows.
Segment, really cool segment actually. I was
this one
have lower card women's wrestlers like help me out. Name is
Alicia Fox.
No. I'm talking about Carmella. Carmella is still doing things on TV and getting her TV time in, even
she's
though
fighting jobbers.
Yeah, but still
James
getting her
Ellsworth.
time in.
I guess.
I love you, Alicia Fox.
And then
Alicia Fox.
going from the really well developed women's division to the underdeveloped tag team division,
of course.
we transition into a 12.
Great segue.
Because what are you going to do?
Interesting tag match.
I think interesting is definitely interesting word to use. I would go with chaotic.
They definitely didn't have enough faces to have a face versus heel team.
I do like how the Fashion Police,
good guys, apparently
now aligned with the face
working
team.
Together with the tag champs and Rhino and Slater.
Right. Kind of an interesting mix here. I think probably the most interesting note of this match is that Victor from the Ascension picked up the W, and I think
their first win, I think, on the main roster.
I read a stat where it was like their first win in like some 200 and some odd matches, including like house shows.
They
and
had
stuff like
the
that.
Shawn and Triple H gif on Twitter when they won.
That's crazy, man.
Unreal. Like,
I heard people saying that they think they're going to win the tag titles on Sunday, and I'm like, why? Unless they come looking completely different on Sunday.
One pinfall, man. That's all it takes, and then suddenly you're the guy. So.
You're a star.
A lot of infighting between the teams, what you would expect kind of going into a tag turmoil match for.
I'm kind of wondering how they're going to do it because, again, WWE changes how the rules of matches are. A tag team turmoil match has been done several different ways.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a gauntlet. They had talked about, then they had alluded to American Alpha, even saying on Talking Smack last week, where they said, we want to start. We want to be the first team in, and like we go the distance and wrestle every team that comes out. So it'll be a gauntlet.
Did you research at all what a tag team turmoil match is?
Originally
they had, for example, if there's more than 4 teams, they would have 4 corners, 4 teams out in the ring. When one of those teams gets pinned and eliminated, another team comes out from the back and goes to their corner. So you have 4 teams fighting at the same time, and then it fills up. That's what it used to be. But now it's going to be more like, I would assume, a gauntlet. That's what they're kind of teasing towards.
Yeah, and that's what the way I think it'll actually go. So overall, once again, I feel like it's cool that they're getting some of these teams involved, but I feel like the whole tag team division on SmackDown's been kind of like shoehorned into this, because there's no real feasible, even with the pinfall victory by the Ascension. You're not putting the belts on the Vaudevillains.
I'm about 99% sure that American Alpha will be the first team in the match and just blow through it.
And they'll go the distance. Yeah. And I think
the Revival comes out and they're their last opponents.
And I would have bought that until, and we'll get to this in a little bit when we fly through NXT, but yeah. So that's really it. I will say,
what a great SmackDown.
Well, we still have the main event to go. As I labeled it.
Oh, I thought it was over already.
Cena Orton XXI. I'm pretty sure it's like their 21st meeting on television.
On television, yes.
So, one other quick side note, and we were talking about this earlier. David Otunga taking a really painful segment to plug his upcoming cameo in Criminal Minds.
Yeah. Oh. Wow, I can't wait to see it. I think that's what JBL said. Looks good.
Okay, so last thing of the night, Cena versus Orton, 21. Commentary really putting over heavy about the potential of this being a preview of their WrestleMania match. That if WrestleMania was booked tomorrow, this would be the match.
If only it was tomorrow.
If only there wasn't a potential for John Cena to drop the belt between now and then.
To 5 different guys at the same time.
Pretty standard Cena Orton match, like nothing you haven't really seen before. You have all your Cena Orton spots there.
Yeah. Do you happen to? You probably didn't, right? How long was that match? It was a decent length.
It was a pretty decent match. Right. If I had to take a guess.
It wasn't a pay-per-view length.
Yeah, it was probably about 10 to 15 minute long match.
But I think they went to commercial at least twice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Either way, John Cena picks up the win. There was some interference at the end with Luke Harper coming out and kind of getting...
Because Bray was there, right?
Yeah, Bray was there at ringside. And then finally, we get to see Luke Harper getting some proper offense in on Bray Wyatt.
Which we haven't really seen.
Yeah, they've been kind of hinting at it a little bit. He's kind of touched him a little bit, set him up for the Sister Abigail here and there. But
right.
Finally, getting that offense in, I think it was like a haymaker or something like that, kind of, put it to him.
Yeah.
Long story short, Cena picks up the win. Harper and Orton is full go for Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Your card is 100% set. And
I said that last week too, that would be on the card.
Yeah. So, and a quick plug before we jump back over to Corey for 205 Live's recap. You guys can tune in this Sunday at 1 p.m. We will be doing a Elimination Chamber preview show.
Yeah.
Myself, Corey,
and all that jazz.
Yeah. We'll be kind of breaking down the card, making our predictions, and kind of taking it from there. So,
it'll be good.
It's pretty solid show overall. I think there were some spots where kind of dragged a little bit, but overall pretty solid.
Overall, I say it was all right. It wasn't a special episode.
Right.
It's kind of stinks when it's a go home show and it's nothing too eventful happens, but it's all right. It's not Raw. They don't have all the stars to throw out there. So,
and that was one note that I did actually. One thought that I kind of had with it before we move on to 205 was that there's really you have like 6 or 7 dudes on the top of SmackDown's card that feel like feasible main eventers.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just kind of drops off.
Absolutely. Like when they had said
there really isn't a mid card.
When they were like, okay, Elimination Chamber is going to be a SmackDown. I'm like, who's going to be in this match?
Right. I mean,
I assumed that the IC belt wouldn't be in there and that whoever the champion would defend that, God forbid, defend the IC belt on a pay-per-view. But no, that didn't happen. So 2 of the guys that would have been in that match are in.
I wouldn't be shocked to see them do like another big SmackDown in between Elimination Chamber and
the wild card.
Yeah, kind of how they call wild card. Yeah, where they have that expanded period of time. But anyway,
who knows?
So jumping back over to Corey. Corey, what happened on 205 Live?
You'll never guess what happened on 205 Live.
They had a fatal 5-way.
They did. Unfortunately,
and still haven't figured out what that means.
Well, I'll explain it as we get there. I'll give you the new rules. Austin Aries opens up 205 Live advertising that Tony Nese, my favorite cruiserweight, is injured with a heel injury and he will not be in the fatal 5-way.
The premier athlete has a heel injury.
And he is a heel. And I don't know. Okay, so that happened. So they decide they're going to have a match and the winner of that match is going to enter themselves into the fatal 5-way. So we have Arya Davari, of course. We're all familiar with him. He has been featured probably pretty heavily on TV, usually as a loser, but and then Mustafa Ali, which is one of the newer guys, great high flyer. So that match goes off. Mustafa wins with his patented inverted 450, which I don't know if you've seen it. I'm assuming you have. Beautiful move.
Fantastic. Oh my
I'm
God.
surprised. I'm afraid one of these days he's going to hit the rope or land.
He's got it
It's
clean,
crazy.
man. It's a very clean. It's almost like how Billy Kidman used to hit that shooting star press. Like, it was a work of art.
Right. Well, to cut ahead a little bit, he uses that move in the Fatal 5-Way, and the guy rolls out. And it looks like if he hadn't rolled out, he probably would have got kicked in the face.
Yeah.
It was close. So either way, he's in our Fatal 5-Way. Go ahead and move on to they play a package for Grand Metalik, who is going to be debuting
Next week,
next Tuesday. Yeah, next week on 205 Live. So that'll be exciting. He was in the finals for the CWC.
Yep, against lost to TJ Perkins in the final.
Exactly. So he'll be a big name, hopefully.
Yeah.
For 205 Live.
Once again, kind of bolstering up that roster a little bit, getting us ready.
Have you noticed that everyone on 205 Live has a nickname?
Yeah,
I mean, everybody in wrestling typically does, but they've really
been pushing
plug
this.
every guy.
The premier athlete.
Lindsay Dorado, the Golden Lynx,
Yeah.
is in the next match against the Brian Kendrick.
The man with the plan.
The man with the plan. He refers to himself as the gatekeeper of 205 Live. So that is he's the gatekeeper. He's his new moniker.
I look forward to them announcing that on the next week.
Right. So he wants to challenge all these new guys, or in this case, take Akira Tozawa under his wing. So he cuts a little promo on the way to the ring. They go to, and Kendrick wins the match with his captain's hook, the bully choke.
Fantastic move.
Yeah. So he wins with that like he typically does. And he cuts another promo saying he wants, or sorry, not a promo. He gets interviewed by Austin Aries. And again, he's talking up to Akira Tozawa saying, he's great. I want him to be my prodigy and all this. So that'll be interesting. I think it's going to lead to a match between the two and not necessarily because he feels like a face, right? Akira Tozawa?
2 weeks in, and I kind of predicted this watching the CWC. Akira Tozawa is over.
Yeah, he's great.
All he has to do is do that. And that's the crowd immediately bought it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that'll be exciting. That was the only real thing. Oh, Tajiri comes out.
That match ended with Tajiri.
Yeah, that's
coming
right.
out.
It wasn't the match. No,
Well,
he was
the post
doing
match.
his promo
Yeah.
or doing his interview. He gets missed it. He asks Akira Tozawa to come out. Hey, come out. I know you're back there. And Tajiri's music hits. He's been injured since the very first episode of 205 Live, and they're blaming that on Brian Kendrick. So he comes out and missed him in the face, and Kendrick sells it like he got acid sprayed in his face. He's like yelling in pain. It's very interesting. All right, so after that we get to our main event. So not a lot of matches this week, but we have our Fatal 5-Way.
So I think 3 seems to be like the standard for 205 Live.
Well, this last match did take up a lot of time because
Yeah.
you had 4 pinfalls. Sorry. Well, no, there might have been some submissions. Either way, okay. So we got our Fatal 5-Way: Jack Gallagher, Noam Dar, Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali, and T.J. Perkins. Starts off just like, they kind of take turns wrestling in the match, 2 at a time. Everyone else is knocked out outside the ring. Whatever. Interesting spot. Jack Gallagher with his umbrella off the top
that
rope.
was fantastic.
Suicide dive or whatever. Jumps off the top rope to
cow.
all the guys on the outside of the ring. I think his umbrella he's getting that over. That's
I
his
can
big
literally see
shtick.
Vince McMahon sitting at the desk watching the monitors and watching Jack Gallagher and just like printing money because that the merchandising alone for him.
They're going to start selling umbrellas.
Oh my God, there's going to be umbrellas. There's going
NWO
to
shirt
be
status.
mustache wax. Like there's going to be everything for Jack Gallagher.
Let's go ahead and go through the eliminations because I'm assuming this is going to set up some feuds probably going forward.
Yep.
So we got Cedric Alexander eliminating Noam Dar, which they've been feuding for a
Good
while.
callback to their feud.
We have Perkins eliminating Alexander after Noam Dar kicks Alexander off the top rope. So Alexander's going up for a move. Noam Dar, who's been eliminated, comes up, knocks him down. That cost him. So obviously, more fuel for that fire for that particular.
Very in character for Dar. Very uncharacteristic of T.J. Perkins.
Well, he just took advantage of that.
I caught a couple of heelish tendencies from Perkins in this match. Maybe I'm reading too far
I
into
don't
it,
know.
but I could see a T.J. Perkins heel turn sooner than later.
Possibly. Perkins also makes Mustafa tap to the cross arm breaker. That's what he calls it.
Yeah.
After he missed his inverted 450. So Perkins has 2 eliminations so far. The crowd chants, "This is awesome," after a few near falls between Gallagher and T.J. Perkins, which are our final 2 guys. Gallagher ends up getting the pin after hitting. All he really did, he ran towards the turnbuckle and got this really gnarly looking drop kick in and pinned him. Neville comes out and stares down Jack, and that is the end of 205 Live. He's holding up the Cruiserweight Championship. So we have Jack Gallagher facing Neville for the Cruiserweight Championship at Fastlane.
Excellent.
That's it, and that's all.
Okay, so to wrap up this week's shows, NXT from February 8th. It's our first show with Nigel McGuinness on commentary. Hooray!
Yeah, I forgot that was happening. So I started watching. I'm like, oh, yeah, no Corey Graves this week.
A couple little audio flubs from him, I think, pronouncing names and stuff like that. But he's obviously
still new. Yeah, I mean,
he'll get better.
I flub all the time, so he can flub.
Absolutely. And we're just amateurs.
Well,
so
some of us.
your first match of the night, the Bollywood Boys making their jump from 205 Live to the NXT roster.
They have wrestled on NXT before.
Yeah, a little bit of back and forth.
Yeah, they have been on there back when the CWC had just aired. They were kind of filler matches.
And I think it's good to have them on NXT. So
they need tag teams.
They need tag teams right now, especially with TM61 being out. Bollywood Boys going up against Sanity. It's Killian Dane and
Alexander Wolf.
Alexander Wolf, yeah, representing Sanity. Complete squash match.
Absolutely.
Bollywood Boys got demolished. I think pretty much all the offense was Killian Dane, really kind of putting him over as like a big monster.
And that'll come up a little bit later.
Yeah. So nothing crazy happened. Complete squash. Post-match promo. They're kind of going on and on about Eric Young going on about Ty Dillinger once again trying to get him to join Sanity. Kind of really continuing this narrative and feud from the last takeover. Interesting. Nikki Cross really kind of going insane there.
She's super in character all the time.
Yeah.
These guys are getting billed like they're the top dogs on NXT right now. It's crazy.
Yelling out for Asuka.
She is, her character is crazy, and she's, like I said, she's always on it, like constantly in character and over the top, and it's, you think that she's insane. It's crazy. It's good. She's doing a good job.
She plays it well. Second match of the night, Liv Morgan, who might possibly have the most obnoxious theme music in all of WWE right now. Yo, 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 yo.
We got Carmella Part 2 here.
Yeah, no shit. And Billie Kay, who doesn't go anywhere without Peyton Royce, obviously.
Of course.
Surprise win. Liv Morgan picks up the pinfall over after some Peyton Royce shenanigans backfired. She basically tried to insert herself into the match and backfired. Liv Morgan with a little bit of like a roll up pin kind of essentially, and picks up a surprise W. So a little bit of momentum there for Liv Morgan.
Sets up next week. They're doing that tag match.
Yeah. So later on in the night, you see like a backstage segment with Commissioner Regal. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, they want their revenge on Liv Morgan. He makes it a tag match for next week with was it Liv Morgan and
whoever she can get.
Oh yeah, partner of her choosing.
They make a joke that she doesn't have any friends and that they're excited. Oh good, she doesn't have any friends. That was kind of funny.
Next segment, we come back to a interview with Ty Dillinger, backstage interview, talking about how he'll never join Sanity and this, that, and the other thing, only to be interrupted by the members of Sanity, giving him a thorough thrashing. Extending all the way from the backstage area all the way to back out to the arena, to the Full Sail Arena. Exactly what you think. Beat down, and then Roderick Strong and No Way Jose come out to assist Ty Dillinger.
I thought that was kind of strange, but I mean, they're the big faces that were available, I suppose, to help out.
I mean, with Shinsuke Nakamura being on the shelf now, and
yeah.
Did
you catch NXT?
No, I didn't.
No, not an NXT guy.
Like I said, with no fan. So I kind of stopped.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, it is. They're going through kind of a rough patch right now.
Yeah, this
they're just now starting to build some more stars up.
This may or may not be the best time to jump into NXT. It is because it's like a good starting point because there's really not a lot going on.
They're finally starting to get some guys, and like I said, the Sanity's kind of getting in place to do some interesting storylines. I don't know, but yeah, I totally feel you. It's a completely different roster.
I do like Bobby.
Yeah,
so I'm definitely gonna start to
Bobby Roode.
I do like Bobby, so that might draw me in.
So, moving on to the next thing, tag team match with the returning Revival, finally back on my NXT television.
Think it was gonna happen.
A huge face pop for them. Kind of interesting.
People realize that they're awesome wrestlers.
Yeah, winners of the 2016 Tag Team of the Year.
Yeah.
And the newly formed, they had tagged together during the Dusty Classic, but Tucker Knight and Otis Drozovic now being billed as Heavy Machinery. So they're like an official team with like matching singlets and a name and all
big guys.
All the cute things. Yeah, it's kind of like a modern day Natural Disasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even similar outfits.
Yeah, big dudes in singlets. Kind of
Yeah.
cute. Exactly what happens, it's a lot of the Revival shenanigans that we're used to seeing, a lot of the stuff that we love the Revival for, the false tags, the Scott Dawson pulling, I think it was like Otis Dozovic off the apron, couldn't get the tag. Revival pick up the win via DDT, Dawson over Tucker Knight. Post-match, AOP starts talking about their accomplishments and how they want a match against AOP. AOP comes out, no words, just comes out to the ring, imposes their really big dude aesthetic.
Very scary.
Revival does the cowardice heel thing, goes to the back, and then comes out and attacks AOP as they're making their way back up to the ramp.
Very bold.
Very bold move.
Yes.
But also showing that potentially the Revival has the ability to outsmart the Authors of Pain.
Do you think we'll ever see a 3-time NXT tag champ?
I don't think we're going to see a 3-time NXT tag champions, but I think this is setting up for an interesting thing for TakeOver Orlando. Isn't not Orlando, but Miami, where I think we might see an interesting maybe like triple threat tag team match or triple tag team elimination match.
Yeah, that might be interesting.
Tag team turmoil, because that's a thing now.
Is that an elimination or who's out there?
Who knows?
Oh yeah.
So a couple things to note as well from NXT is that they are billing a match for next week.
Yeah, I'm excited.
UK title will be defended
on NXT.
So Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, former members of Mustache Mountain.
No, I think they're still.
And British Strong Style, obviously members from the United Kingdom tournament that WWE just ran not too long ago.
Did you see what Trent Seven just did?
No.
He won the ICW Heavyweight Championship 2 days ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And then Pete Dunne has the
Progress Heavyweight
and then
Championship.
Tyler Bate has the UK.
They're the tag champs too.
As
Those three are all together.
Yep.
They're in a stable. They are British Strong Style wrestlers, and they're like the top of indie European
the
or
UK
British
indie scene. Yeah,
it's crazy.
But it's I think it's interesting that you're seeing the NXT guys now on the UK guys, I should say, on the NXT roster, and that's how they're
awesome.
But it's cool because they can come in for tapings.
Right.
They don't have to stay here the entire time. They can go back to the UK.
That's the benefit of NXT is they tape. So
Yep.
they mix and match different shows too. So they'll have a match from this weekend that they were here, and then they have matches that are in Full Sail. So they can mix and match, which is interesting. So they'll be able to do that probably a lot easier.
Yeah. So to wrap up this week's show, we have Bobby Roode coming out for the most glorious celebration. Bobby Roode's official championship celebration. He looks fantastic with the belt. Comes out with it under the suit, which is I've always been a big fan of the whole belt under the suit look. That's a good look.
Unless you're like Kevin Owens or something.
Fantastic promo too. Cuts the promo about it being we are NXT to going to my NXT or I am NXT or whatever. Smoke billows down. And then we have a main event afterwards. Pretty standard issue. No surprise here. Ty Dillinger, No Way Jose, Roderick Strong versus Sanity. Basically building off of the
earlier altercation.
Yeah. Sanity picks up the W, looks really strong in the process. They are looking like a force to be reckoned with. So
I think that's the direction NXT's going for a while.
I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, either after TakeOver or shortly thereafter or around there, we will see a position where all of Sanity will hold all the gold.
I'm excited.
Be kind of interesting. So that is our recap of all of this week's wrestling shows. Corey, what'd you think of 205 and NXT?
NXT was way better this week than it was last week.
Yep.
Last week definitely felt like a filler episode.
Certainly.
Other than the Tyler Bate match, which was nice, but no storylines were progressed. Here, I feel like we have a lot of storyline direction with a lot of what's going on. And the way they build on NXT is they're always building to the next TakeOver because that's their pay-per-view. So we got 2 months of build on all these feuds that they have going on. So much better. 205 Live as well because they had the setup for the Fastlane match. So
yeah.
Overall, I think they both were pretty decent.
Yeah, pretty good shows this week.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, what do you got for us this week, Corey?
It is time for the Brainbuster Trivia portion of our show. Are you guys ready? That's right. You know what that sound means. You may think you know what that sound means. I'm going to let you know what it means.
What's this?
The Newlywed Game, right?
Is that the Newlyweds? Or,
I would
okay,
think so.
That's good.
I mean, it's the Brainbuster Game.
Shoot, we could probably do an entire trivia show based off of name what game show this music is.
Name that game show tune.
Yeah. So, do you want to explain the rules to Mike?
Absolutely. Now, I will say this week there is no prize other than bragging rights. So
My favorite WWE pay-per-view.
The way this is, I have 20 questions. You're each going to get 10. You can have a chance to steal the question. So if he gets it wrong and you know the answer, you get a chance to earn a point there. I'm going to ask you guys to keep score, unless I write it down. I don't want to shake the table, but keep score of how many points you have. Hopefully you don't get too many. I'm just kidding. These are pretty easy.
So we have to do rock, paper, scissors
No,
to see who
you
starts?
can, or I was just going to have who you can do evens or odds. So you want to do even questions or odd questions? I have them numbered.
I'll do even.
I could do odds.
Your odds, your evens,
Yeah.
perfect, because all the even ones are really tough. I'm not sure if that's how I did it. All right. So we have our evens and our odds, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start here. Question numero uno. Who did Reigns, Rollins, Ambrose put through a table at Survivor Series during their Shield reunion this past Survivor Series? They triple powerbombed somebody. Who was it? It was somebody in the Survivor Series match, if that helps you at all.
This is an easy question.
Any
This
guesses?
is for Mike.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Any guesses?
Stumped.
You're stumped. You're not even going to guess a name.
No, because I know.
All right. You got a chance to steal, Mr. Travis.
Oh my God, I'm trying to, because it was a fantastic match. I just can't
Right, I
remember
just can't remember who it was.
Maybe
who it
think of the
was.
feuds that were happening around that time.
I want to say it was it Kevin Owens?
Incorrect.
Oh,
Unfortunately, the feud
frick.
was between Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles.
Oh,
AJ
they put
Styles.
Styles through the
That's
table
how he
with
got
the-
eliminated from the match because
I
they
was
got him.
expecting you to steal that one.
Okay, let's move on to question number 2. This one is for Travis.
Okay.
The WWE Championship has been awarded to the winner of the Royal Rumble on 2 separate occasions.
Yes, sir.
Most recently in 2016. What other year did that happen?
That would have been the 1992 Royal Rumble, won by the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
That is correct.
Raise my hand.
That is 1 point for Mr.
I
Travis.
knew that one.
So then Mike gets
Question number 3. Before teaming with Kevin Owens, who did Chris Jericho team up with when he received a tag team championship match against the New Day in 2016? They even made a T-shirt for this particular pairing.
What's Jericho team with?
Who was it? Ooh. I'm going to give you a couple more seconds.
Y'all are killing me. T-shirt?
Time is up, unfortunately. Let's move on to Travis. Do you have the correct answer?
that would have been the short-lived team of Y2AJ.
That is correct.
AJ Styles.
AJ
Chris
Styles.
Jericho.
Both questions I gave you, the answer has been AJ Styles so far. All right.
Let me spoil the next one for you. It's AJ Styles.
It's
Mike.
not. I promise. It's not. If it is, that would be a crazy. Okay, let's. Question number 4. This goes to Travis. Who did Baron Corbin eliminate to win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal this past WrestleMania?
Oh, shoot.
Who was the last person?
The
Came
last
down to-
elimination?
they stood off, and he eliminated this person. Who was it?
Was it Big Show?
Good guess, but that is incorrect. Do you have a guess?
Is it Roman Reigns?
It was not Roman.
No, he wasn't.
Roman was not in the. It was another monster. Kane is the correct
Oh,
answer.
shoot. Dang.
Yes. All right. Moving on to question number 5. This one goes to Mike. The very first Hell in a Cell match. Who was in it and who won? The very first Hell in a Cell match.
The very first.
Yes.
Was that Shawn and Taker?
It was Shawn and Taker. Who won that match?
Shawn won because it was interference.
That is correct. So you got a point
On
on
the
that.
board.
He is on the board.
This is unfair because actually I should have told you this going into this and introducing Mike. I have never met a bigger Shawn Michaels mark in my life.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Heartbreak Kid, Mike Cox.
And what did the Heartbreak Kid do to your cocks?
Whoa.
Okay. Let's move on to question number 6. This one is for Travis. Who was the very first pick in the draft for the Raw brand?
That would have been Seth Rollins,
That is correct.
the architect. So that's three for your streak.
3-1. Similar question for you, Mike. Who was the very first pick of the Raw SmackDown draft for SmackDown?
Is that John Cena?
It was not John Cena. Who was it, Travis?
That would have been WWE champion AJ Styles.
No.
What?
AJ Styles was like 5th. That would be WWE champion Dean Ambrose.
Oh, he wasn't champion at the time. Ambrose. God,
Yeah, they had the
bless
Shield match.
America.
They had the Shield match right after the draft, so no one gets points on it. That's surprising. I
He's
thought,
up too.
Question
kid.
number 8 for Travis. Who was the first female draft picked for the Raw brand?
That would have been Charlotte.
That's correct.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, Mike. Similar fashion, who was the first female pick for the SmackDown brand? Who was the top lady at that time?
Was that Sasha Banks?
Sasha Banks on Raw.
Come on, man.
That's what I'm
That would have been. Do I get to steal?
You may.
That would have been Becky Lynch.
That is Becky Lynch. Correct. All right, question number 10. This one goes to Travis. Travis, who is the oldest WWE champion? Heavyweight champion.
Of all time?
Of all time. The
Oh,
oldest
the
to one
oldest?
person to win it.
That would have been at the time that he won it.
Yes.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
That's correct.
Yes. Give
Okay.
unto Poppy what is Poppy's.
Okay, Mike, I got you one here. Who is the youngest WWE heavyweight champion? Not the big gold belt. We're talking the WWE belt. The one they use now on SmackDown. Who is the youngest person to win that belt?
Is that Orton?
No.
Ooh.
It was not Randy Orton.
Youngest WWE champion?
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar.
It was Brock Lesnar. That's correct.
He won it at age 22, was it?
25.
25 years old. So that's okay. How many questions do you have?
I had one.
We're getting there. Okay, well, you might know this one, Travis. Who was the youngest WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the big gold belt?
Big gold belt was Randy Orton.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's why I had to specify the belts. All right.
How many questions is it?
That was question 12.
How many total do you have?
20. The last 4 are really easy.
Okay, let's fly through these.
Okay. Question number 13, which is for Mike. When NWA Total Nonstop Action was created in 2002, what former WWF superstar was their very first heavyweight champion?
He can still. Watching
That was Jeff Jarrett.
Incorrect. Ooh. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Dang, who was it?
You might not believe this. It was Ken Shamrock was the very first.
Shamrock?
Yeah. Jarrett was number 2.
Oh, man.
Ken Shamrock number 1. No, sorry. Jarrett was number 3. Number 2 was R-Truth. Ron the Truth Killing was the second TNA heavyweight champion.
They were scraping the bottom of the
And
barrel.
then AJ Styles was number 4.
Okay.
So they figured it out eventually. Okay. Question number 14. This one is for Travis. Who was the first woman to hold the Divas Championship when it debuted in 2008?
The first Divas champion was, oh God, this is going to bother me. I'm just going to take a shot in the dark here. Was Mickie James?
Nope.
Okay.
Do you have a guess?
I don't even think I was watching because I had a period when I stopped watching.
I think we
I
all
did
did.
it. I did not watch in 2008.
We call 2006 to
what we talked about when we went to
2014 like the
Toledo.
dark years. Yeah.
That was
The correct answer is
dark years.
Michelle McCool, Mrs. Undertaker herself.
Ew.
The next 2 questions are going to be multiple choice, so you both get a multiple choice question. Mike, which of the following wrestlers is not billed from parts unknown? So I'm going to give you 4 wrestlers. One of them is not billed from parts unknown, okay?
Gotcha.
Is it Kane, Giant Gonzalez, the Boogeyman, or the Ultimate Warrior?
I'm going to go with Warrior.
That's incorrect. Do you have a guess, Travis?
This is Kane.
Kane is from parts unknown.
Who was
It was B.
The Boogeyman is from the bottomless pit, is where he is billed from.
That sounds about right.
Or under the ring would make more sense. All right, so this one is for Travis.
Yep,
There's
there we
multiple
go.
choice. Which of the following superstars won the very first Money in the Bank ladder match? Was it CM Punk, Rob Van Dam, Edge, or Mr. Kennedy?
The first Money in the Bank?
The very first.
That was Mania 21, was it?
I believe so.
I want to say it was the choices were
CM
Edge.
Punk, Rob Van Dam, Edge, or Mr. Kennedy. I will say these are the first 4 winners, so they all.
It was Edge.
It was Edge. That's correct. Oh my God.
8.
That's
At 9.
That's
for,
9.
9 for me.
All right, let's get into our true or false real quick. So the next 4 are going to be true or false.
Okay, let's.
This one, they'll be real quick. Mike, Edge was the only the only wrestler to win Money in the Bank more than once. True or false?
That's true.
That's false. He only won it once, actually. The only person who's won it 2 times is CM Punk. Edge did win the briefcase from Mr. Kennedy in a match, so he did technically have 2 briefcases, but he only won the match once.
Dang.
Number 18, Travis. Chris Jericho holds the record for longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. True or false?
False.
That is false. That's correct. Honky Tonk Man.
Longest reigning.
Like 400
Jericho's had the most reigns.
Most reigns, correct.
With 9.
Like 480 something days for Honky Tonk Man. This one is your last question. True or false? John Cena has never held the Intercontinental Championship.
That's a great question.
And you have it sitting in front of you. Did he write his name on it? If he had,
No, that's true. He never.
that is true. He has never held the Intercontinental title. It's
2 points.
the only one. That one's worth 2. Good job. So now you have 3 points.
Oh,
all right. Our last question of the
Allen
night.
Iverson.
Travis, true or false? Kane has appeared in the most Money in the Bank ladder matches, more than anybody else.
That is false.
That's true. He's
Is it
appeared
really?
in 7. The second most is 4.
He just shows up everywhere.
He's been in
I
7.
knew that.
He's got
He
nothing
just
else going on at the pay-per-view.
shows up everywhere.
That is the end of our Brain Buster segment. Our winner this week, Mr. Travis himself. He has won 2 weeks in a row.
Undefeated.
I'm going to have to start putting these questions towards our guests
Yeah, I
and
guess,
get a hold of them
man. I
ahead
don't
of
know.
time. What do you know about that Travis does not know about?
If you start throwing some like CMLL or something like that in there, I might actually be stumped. I don't know.
CMLL?
Yeah.
Cash Me Outside? What does that mean? What
No,
does
it's,
it stand
it's promotion in Mexico.
CMLL.
Yeah. yeah.
Catch me outside.
Anyway, so yeah. So that would conclude.
That is our show, guys. If you want to hit us up on Twitter, which I hope you do, Audio Suplex Live on Twitter and on Facebook. You can find us on there. I am your host, Heel Corey. You can catch me at heel_Corey on Twitter.
You can follow me at xDrTX on Twitter, and you can follow Mike.
Mike C521 on everything except Snapchat. That's Mike C52101.
Yeah, you gotta come correct if you're gonna get my Snapchat.
You just giving out your Snapchat willy-nilly. Who knows?
The DMs are open though. Just,
Yeah. So thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys on Sunday for our show for Elimination Chamber. We'll do some previews and predictions, and we'll go over some stuff then. We'll see you guys Sunday.
Hey guys, we would like to thank the band Wax for our intro and outro music. You can check them out at waxoh.bandcamp.com. You have been listening to the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.